Hello, 8th graders. This is Mrs. Jane speaking. I just wanted to say y'all are doing a great job in class today, and also I want to give a shout out to first period because you guys are awesome. There's one student in particular, and you know who you are, who came in for tutoring this morning and is just doing a great job by doing all that. So props to you, props to first period. Let's go ahead and get started on this spiral review, just to review some of the questions that we were doing over the semester. You'll notice that some of these questions are already what we did in class today, and some of them are different. So go ahead and review all of this, okay? So let's start with this one. Ingrid earns $200 each week in salary, plus a 20% commission on her sales, so that's bonus. If Ingrid wants to earn a total of $400 for the week, which equation could represent this situation? So we're trying to find an equation with all of this information that's given. So we're going to try to find, we know that she makes 20% commission off of her total sales. So we know 20% is just going to be equal to 0.20 if we move the decimal place over 2 spots. So we also know that she makes $200 each week. Knowing those two information, both of those information will help us find the equation that will represent the situation. So if we have $400, it equals $400, we can go ahead and eliminate C because the $400 is all it equals to. It's not going to change with X. So we can cross out C as our choice. Okay, and so now we're going to just look at A, B, and D. Let's look at A. For 400 equals 200 plus 0.20x. If she makes $200 per week and then adds 0.20x, and x is something that is a rate of change. So if that is the case, if that's her bonus, that would be the correct answer. But let's keep looking at letter B also and see if this is incorrect. So 400 is equal to 200x plus 0.20, but we remember that the 200 is for each week. That does not change with x, so we can cross that out. Let's look at D. 400 equals 200 plus 0.80x, but that 0.80 isn't correct because we know it's 20% of her total sales is what should be multiplied by x, which is commission. So we know that the correct answer is A. 400 equals 200 plus 0.20x. The 200 is where she earns each week. The 0.20 is what she gets bonus for her commissions. And that x is how many sales she has on her, which is her commissions. Okay? Pierce wanted to fence a triangle garden for Senior Day Center before the grand opening. He located some fencing for $5.35 per foot. Use the drawing below to determine the total cost of the fencing for the garden. So guys, we've been working on the Pythagorean theorems a lot. So I went ahead and did every step that you need to do for that. A squared is equal to 9 squared. B is what we're looking for. Equals to 15 squared, which is the C squared. And I went ahead and worked all that out for you to find that B is equal to 12. But as you can see with this question, it's not just asking us to find the Pythagorean theorem and find the side of B. It's asking us to determine the total cost of fencing for the garden. So when we remember when we read the word fencing, we're looking for the perimeter. So I'm going to go ahead and add 9 plus 12 plus 15. That's going to give me 36 feet. Okay, but we're not done there yet. We're going to do 36 times $5.35 because $5.35 is the cost per foot. Okay, so we're going to do that number times 36. And that gives me, actually, okay, it gives me 192 $2.60, and that happens to be letter B. Susan completed a 150 miles of a 500-mile bike race in 6 hours. Which of the following could be used to find H, the number of additional hours it takes for her to complete the race, traveling at the same rate? Okay, guys, for this one, you're going to need to look at the question and see that she already completed 150 miles out of the 500. So if we were to subtract that, we would get 350. So if she's, we're going to put miles over hours. Good job. And then we're going to put 150, because that's how many she completed, over 6 hours. And then we're going to do, since she subtracted 150 from 500, that gives her the total she has left, which is 350 miles. And we want to find H, the amount of hours. So we went ahead and set that up, and all we have to do is look over at our answer choices to see which one looks like the chart that we just made. So, is A correct? 150 over 350 equals H over 6. That doesn't match our chart because 150 over 350 is not correct. So we're going to X out A. B is 150 over 6 equals 350 over H, which matches our chart that we got from just reading the question given to us. So B is the correct answer. We know C and D we can eliminate right off the bat because there's 500 in both of those. And she doesn't have 500 miles left because she already rode 150 miles. Nicholas had 6 1/3 cup of flour. The recipe for a cake he is making calls for 9 cups of flour. How much more flour does he need for the recipe? So I'm going to have 9 cups of flour, which I'm going to write it as 8 and then 3 over 3. And I do 3 over 3 because I want to have the fractions to subtract from 6 cups and 1/3. So I'm going to subtract that from 6 1/3, which gives me the answer of 2 2 2/3 cup of flour. And the reason I did 3 over 3 instead of just 9 is because I wanted to make sure I have the fraction form that I can easily subtract from. But 8 and 3 over 3 is equal to 9. And that answer is G. Okay. The graph below shows that triangle DEF is a dilation of triangle ABC. So we're going to be looking at this graph, and we're going to be going from the big triangle to this smaller triangle. I know that those arrows are a little bit deceiving because they're going upward in the direction, but we're actually going to be looking from the bigger to the smaller triangle. Let's read. Let me move this recording thing over, guys, so you can see it. It says, what is the scale factor used to create triangle DEF? So we can see that on AB is 7.5 and DF is 3. I'm looking at the legs of the triangles. And then CB is 10 and FE is 4. So it's looking for the scale factor used to create triangle DEF. So we're going to take the 7.3 and that's going to become a 3. And then the 10 will become a 4. So to find the scale factor, we're going to divide 10 by 4 to get 0.4 as our scale factor. We know that the scale factor was going to be a smaller number than 1. So that means that 0.4 is the correct answer. Miguel wants to repair his home. He places a 12-foot ladder up against his house 8 feet from the base of the house. So, in the drawing below, label the links. So I'm going to first label the links. Let me label the links with the 17-foot ladder That's where my ladder is. Okay guys, sorry, rewind. We're going to relabel that as 17 feet as the ladder, which is the hypotenuse, and it's 8 feet distance from the house. So we're looking to find that leg of the triangle there, which is going to be our b squared. We're looking for that x. So let's go ahead and write it in as the Pythagorean Theorem formula. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we know that 8 squared plus b squared, which is the one we're looking for, is equal to c squared. So 8 squared is 64 plus b squared, which is what we don't know. We're going to try to figure it out. And then 17 squared is 289. So we're going to subtract 64 from both sides. And that's going to get us 225, which is b squared. But we're not done yet. We need to take the square root from 225 and the square root from b squared to get b by itself, which is going to equal 15 feet. Which, if we look back at our problem, it says label the distance along the house from the ground to the top of the ladder. So that's what we found, which is 15 feet. Gabrielle can type 90 words in 60 seconds. Which equation can be used to find W, the number of words Gabrielle can type at this rate in 125 seconds? So we're going to go ahead and set this up with 90 times W over 65 seconds. Now the W is the amount of words, is equal to words over 125 seconds. We set this up from the equation given above. To solve for W, we need to multiply 90 times 125. And then we're going to divide all of that by 65. Okay, so that's simply all we have to do to find W. And then we go back over to our answer choices and see which one matches that, which is A. W equals 90 times 125 over 65. B is incorrect because you have 65 on top divided by 90. C is incorrect because you don't do 90 times 65. D is also incorrect because you're dividing incorrectly. And for that case, multiplying incorrectly. So A is the correct choice to find W, the number of words Gabrielle can type at this rate of 125 seconds. A 20-foot ladder is leaning up against the side of a building. The bottom of the ladder is 4 feet from the wall. How many feet above the ground does the ladder touch the wall? So it's 4 feet. And that triangle is a right triangle. So I'm going to put a little right symbol to show. Perfect. And so we're going to solve for how many feet above the ground does the ladder touch the wall. So we're going to use the Pythagorean Theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And so that means 4 squared plus b squared is equal to 20 squared. 4 squared is 16. So 4 squared equals 16 plus b squared is equal to 400, which is 20 squared. And so to solve for b squared, we're going to subtract 16 from both sides. So 16 minus 16 cancels out. Subtract 16 minus 400, which gives me 384 feet. So that gives me b squared. Which equals to 384 feet. And all we have to do, we're going to look at our answer choices and see that B, letter B, has the square root of 384. Is the square, B, excuse me guys, B squared is equal to the square root, oh, there's the bell, 384. which is the answer. So it didn't have you actually do the square root. It left it at b squared is equal to that. Okay, so I hope this helped everybody. Shout out to all the girls that helped me write this. Y'all are awesome. As you can see, they're still writing. But y'all have a great day. Study hard, and I will see you later. God, y'all got too crazy. All right, thank you. And I just do this to save it.
All right. Stop.